And welcome once again to the Liberty Lounge podcast. I am trapped once again here with these guys. To my left is Jared of Guns and Gadgets. We love him. Say hi, Jared.
What it is.
Out in California is the Arms Scholar. He is ready to rock and roll. Say hi, Anthony.
What it is.
White guys being so urban. All right. The militia violent extremists, the MVEs. I'm one, you're one, we're all one. If you're not on a watch list, you're not doing your job.
Look at that.
Look right there. Official member.
Yeah. Running out of time on TriStar Trading, actually.
Of the government watch list. Yeah. We didn't plan that. You didn't know what we're going to talk about today. So the FBI, they release these pamphlets every now and then. They're quick guides to being able to understand different militia groups or different groups. I saw one yesterday for the sovereign citizens. They released this 3-page document on how to recognize a sovereign citizen. I thought you just you just grab them and then they yell, "Am I being detained?" And that's how you identify them. All right. So they got the new one out there. And the idea is this: there's certain buzzwords, certain keywords that would identify you as an extremist. Have you seen that list?
Yeah, I did a video on it. I think I checked every box.
The new one, they've added some new words to the buzzword list. What's your biggest surprise?
The Second Amendment is on there now.
If you say the word Second Amendment or type the word Second Amendment anywhere in your life, you are a potential militia violent extremist.
You know, with this administration and the leadership we've had, doesn't surprise me at all. And then when you read the verbiage that the FBI put out, it was like, you know, these people think that the Second Amendment is not to be infringed and that the government is looking to take away their rights. Well, yeah, it's not what we think it is. It's what's been happening. And thanks to Bruin, we're winning back.
Anthony, can you believe, and it's one thing to think it, it's another thing to say it or to type it out, to actually put it in black and white. Anthony, you actually surprised that this federal government would say that the word Second Amendment is an indicator of potential violent extremist behavior?
I don't think I'm surprised anymore by what our federal government does. Like, I think everybody in our group chats and everything, we're just laughing and we're like, okay, like how many do we check off in this list? Like, yep, check. You know, at this point, saying that, making statements about the Second Amendment or just even the Second Amendment verbiage or shall not be infringed is an indicator of extremism. Like, that's it. Literally, those words are pulled from our fundamental rights. So you're saying our founding documents are extremists and radical in their own nature. Like that's where we're at right now in our nation. And yeah, Johnny, doesn't surprise me, but I was more just laughing at trying to find out how many I could check off in that. Because it was even like prepping and all these other random things.
Crap hits the fan, like literally SHTF. And if they typed it out, shit hits the fan. And that is an indicator. And I told my audience yesterday, I was like, I don't really understand that. Will y'all walk me through that? Shit hit the fan, and then also the word prepping. Yeah, I know that some preppers tend to be, I hate the government, I'm going to send me some packages to Washington. But all right then, biscuits and mustard. I think some, or for most of them, they're just hillbillies that are just like regular people that are like, hey, leave me the hell alone. How did shit hits the fan and prepping end up on an MVE list?
I think they were just trying to cast a wide net so that they could use the Patriot Act to possibly start eavesdropping on a lot more Americans. Interesting, though, if you go back to, I think the last time that list was updated was about a year to a year and a half ago, and the Gadsden flag was on there, and so was St. Michael. Like, St. Michael is tattooed on my right leg.
I think the St. Michael thing was a Proud Boy thing, I think that was somehow tied in with them.
I think the Saint was around a lot longer than the FBI, so I don't think they know what they're talking about.
God bless the St. Michael.
They found issue with that too, even with military guys though wearing it. So they were flagging that as well, and there was something about also like some shirt designs couldn't go out with that like symbology on it. Yeah.
Well, St. Michael is known as the patron saint of the protectors. So anybody who's doing protecting typically has a medallion,
a sheepdog,
tattoo, or something on there. You know, like there were a few times when times got tough. Like I looked at my leg and was like, "You got to help me here. Like I need the strength to do this." And to say that imagery is violently extreme is crazy.
I looked at my leg and said, "You got to lay off the Mexican food, Deborah Cephas, and shepherd's we shall be for thee, my Lord, for thee." Yeah, the shepherd, and the St. Michael idea being now you are an MVE. interesting to your point, they have now pulled the Gadsden flag off of there. Is there any reason why, or is this just government numbskulls? Because I think the Gadsden flag is probably a better indicator of an MVE than the word prepping or crap hits the fan.
I think they just had to, they wanted to keep it a 3-page document. So they had to remove something, and that was it, because they know that's what it is.
The PDF was 3 pages. So they add this one in and they put that one out. All right, here's my question. And I asked my audience this today. I asked them that. The opening of this document saying, dun, 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 we're looking for MVEs, opens with who they are, what they are, and then one indicator. And there's a giant fat paragraph about the Boogaloo. Mm-hmm. If y'all don't remember that, remember 3-4 years ago, it was 2021 when there was a lot of guys and a few gals, but mostly guys were online, our people, wearing the Hawaiian shirts, kidding up when we were doing like the march on Virginia and a bunch of different areas where saints, patron saints and shepherds and two Second Amendment guys wore the Hawaiian shirts. The idea is the big igloo, the boogaloo. It's the coming of the second American Civil War, but it's not brother against brother. It's brothers against the government. That's the idea. It was a meme. It literally was a meme, and now it's made the FBI list. My question is this. Are people still talking like that? Because I haven't heard the igloo, big igloo, boogaloo stuff in a while.
I haven't heard it in a while. I'm sure there's some people that still go out there and train in full kit with Hawaiian shirts, but I haven't heard anything in a while.
Anthony, y'all doing the boogaloo out in the California?
No, I feel like Hawaiian shirt stocks are down right now. I don't think like the Hawaiian shirts are flying off the shelves like they were.
It probably stopped in 21. Probably in about 21, that meme died, and it's been gone ever since. It didn't make it through COVID, and now the FBI is just now catching on to it.
Yeah, I feel like it definitely peaked during that lockdown riot period, because that was in some ways being tied into like the counterculture of what you saw going on with BLM and all that. And then since then, with all the other madness that we have going on, I feel like it's kind of petered off. And even with gun culture, style has changed. Now it's much more like skater-ish style of clothes that people are wearing. It's not as much like the Hawaiian shirts and the the chubby shorts or whatever, the frat boy shorts and all that stuff. So the other one I saw in here, Johnny, do you see Killdozers on there?
That's where we were going next. Killdozer has made the list. Anthony, walk folks because a lot of folks don't know the Killdozer. I find that unfortunate. Anthony, walk us through it.
You probably know the story better than me, because you tell it with the shirt, so you tell it. I think you.
Here's the deal. A long time ago, 20 years ago this year, there was a guy named Marvin Heemeyer in Granby, Colorado. The short version is the town of Granby shut off his sewer, his water from his muffler shop, and they wanted him to have to, it's a bunch of bureaucrat, but they wanted him to have to build like a quarter mile or a half a mile of new sewer line or something, him pay for it. It was a railroading of his business. It went on for a year. The sheriff was involved, the sheriff's department, the mayor, the newspaper, all of them, and the city council, all of them were against him, and he took a D355A Komatsu bulldozer and spent a year and a half armoring it. He armored a bulldozer and created
the Killdozer.
The Killdozer. And one day he fired that bad Larry up. He made sure everybody was out of the way, and he safely flattened the town. He went to the mayor's house, flattened it, sheriff's house, flattened it, went to that newspaper, flattened it, and they did everything to stop him, and he couldn't get stopped. What actually stopped him? A basement.
Yeah.
One of the tracks of the bulldozer went down in a basement. He got stuck, so he put a gun to his head. Into the story, and thus the myth of the Killdozer was born. So it's a guy that builds a Killdozer, flattens his town to give a big freaking middle finger to the government. And we have turned it into a myth and a legend. I think there's elements. The whole story is very sad. You watch the Netflix documentary, it's sad. But I think there's some elements that speak to my life. How about you?
Definitely. And I want to first say that, like, this could have easily been on the first 2 or 3 lists that they put out about MVEs. So you should be proud, because it's the prevalence of your shirts, where thousands of people around the country are wearing them, that the FBI is like, oh, hold on, now we got to do something about this.
You think our shirts, because we have a huge line of Killdozers, we have flags and patches, decals, and a gun mat. TristarTrading.com. But you think that may have helped push it, just nudge it just a little bit into the public consciousness in 2024?
Yeah, because people are using the killdozer, the image of the bulldozer as like a beacon of resistance. So like,
what's it mean to you? What is a killdozer? Because we have on our shirt, it says ungovernable. That's not a word that Heemeyer used. Heemeyer died a sweaty, dirty death.
Yeah.
With men, cops crawling over his bulldozer. He was in the dark and he died alone. It's a terrible story. But he didn't get arrested. He didn't go to jail, and he flattened that freaking town. So I have mixed feelings on the whole thing. What's it mean to you?
You can only push people so far, right? Before you should expect something to happen. You can only poke a dog so much before it bites. You can only back an animal into a corner so much before they start to come out and attack. And like we, the people, have been pushed into a corner for the last 45 years, like we had at no other time in our history. And America's starting to get sick and tired of it. You're seeing people resist more. You're seeing people like not even stop at red lights anymore.
They don't stop for ambulances anymore.
No.
The fire trucks there, they don't stop for them. Anthony, we get poked in Tennessee a lot by the federal government, the state government, the local government. You get poked in the eyeball and the beehole nonstop. How bad is it out there, and does a killdozer speak to you?
Yeah, I think like Jared said, the killdozer story is kind of like this microcosm of larger issues, like how far can government push you before an individual acts. And it just is also reflective of like our general American theme. Right now, I'm actually listening to that book. It's called The Cause, and it goes through, the American Revolution, all that stuff. But there's just so many parallels of like the English infringements and tyranny on individuals, and how far you can get pushed until there's reaction from an individual, and then it snowballs into more and more people. So yeah, I think the killdozer story is almost it's a sad, but it's also a warning, a larger warning to all government agencies that this is what can happen if you continue to push people beyond to the point where they think they have no other option.
Yeah.
And then as far as California, yeah, we get destroyed here. And that's why everybody wants to pull me to other states like Tennessee and say, yeah, it's rough.
Yeah, I had a viewer reach out to me today, and he's like, "Hey, I'm on the left coast. What's Johnson City like?" Question mark. And I was like, "Here we go again. We got another patriot wanting to move across the country." I totally get it. All right, speaking of Patriots, today's episode is brought to you by my friends out at Brownells, The Selection. Jared, how big is the selection at Brownells? You shop there.
Yeah, it's wicked big.
We're talking Iowa. We're not talking Massachusetts. Wicked, it's wicked big. Yeah, Brownell's massive selection. When I go there, I'm usually buying gun parts. I'm kind of usually dialing in a rifle that I already have. Massive selection.
Yeah, I got a couple items that I've been looking for my MP5 clone that I couldn't find anywhere because they're usually sold out, but Brownells has them and the trigger's been pulled.
It's Brownells. You can find them. The graphic is right down below. We'll show you how to get there. Huge thank you to our friends out in Grinnell, Iowa. Love you guys. Big thank you to the folks at Brownells. All right, Anthony, do you have that document actually pulled up? I saw you playing on your computer.
Yeah,
If you read the very top, what's right underneath Federal Bureau of Investigation, so that folks can find it. They'll be able to find it. If you'll type this into Google, it's pretty easy to find.
We can put a link down below as well.
Yeah,
I didn't that thing. Did you link that document?
We're already on the list.
I'm not linking that document.
To be honest, I just pulled it up from Mr. Guns and Gear. That's where I went to his.
He's on the list.
It's kind of, he's cut off. It's, I don't know, in the top of it's like a Federal Bureau of Investigation, Domestic Terrorist Reference Guide, Militia Violent Extremism is what it's
Domestic Terrorist Reference Guide. And there's several different reference guides. We open by talking about the ones of the sovereign citizens. This one is specifically for the MVEs. Mm-hmm. But you type that in, it does pop up. You might find an older version. Y'all can link that if y'all want. I ain't linking that crap to nowhere.
You scared.
We already got flagged in this video for saying all the things.
312 lists already. All right, Anthony, you got that pulled up. I've said that there's prepping on there. What there's some that are not really standouts. But I think there's some. Killdozer, you're on a list if you type or use that name, or use even this document even says the meme. It is a meme. And if you use the meme Killdozer, I love it. You got prepping, crap hits the fan, Killdozer, 2A, Second Amendment, Boogaloo, Big Igloo, or my favorite, the Mujahideen. Not the Mujahideen.
And the Big Luau.
The Big Luau. I love it.
Yeah, there's so many random ones. Oathbreaker, calling someone an oathbreaker, a politician an oathbreaker, is considered extremist language, which is, Molan Labe. If you see people driving around in trucks, especially in Texas, those all that. What
Extremists.
else? Yeah, prepping 3%ers. I mean, Jared, on your arm, your arm is extremist.
It is an extreme arm.
It's an extreme arm. What else is on here? Yeah, Second Amendment. We talked about that one. Bug out, false flags, all of. So I mean, there's who know. I mean, it's insane.
Pretty much everything the government does now. If you say anything about it, you're the bad guy.
Yeah, if you have any pushback of the federal government, you are now a potential extremist. I think it is on one hand laughable, on the other hand, it's kind of scary, because when they move you to a different category with this kind of language, they can enact the Patriot Act and pay attention more to your phone, or they can serve warrants or just do things to look at you a little closer if you're sharing killdozer memes. Holy smokes. I'm unhappy about it, but I am a tax-paying citizen, and I've had my viewers go, "I don't comply to anything. I've never complied to the government." If you have a driver's license, you're playing the game. If you drive on the right-hand side of the road or stop for traffic lights, you're playing the game. So on some level, even us rebels who wear government watch list and killdozer, we're all compliant on some level. That's called part of being in a society.
Yeah, it's part of being in a law-abiding society, and our government, when it first started, was a rule of law. That's what the country is about. It's not a rule of constant laws being, beaten about your brow. You're supposed to have, individual liberty, which we really can't say we have much of anymore.
Let's talk about the viewers. We had so many people. I got a letter in the mail today from one of you people, and one of y'all said, "Dude, I love the Liberty Lounge." Why are people connecting? I think we're doing a good job here trying to talk about things that people want to talk about, and y'all are responding. My question is why? Both of you guys, why are people responding? Because I hear us and I'm like, why am I even still sitting here sometimes?
I think it's because this is us. You see us laugh, you see us have fun. Like, we're not always serious. Like, we're researching stuff all the time. On my channel, at least, I'm pretty serious on it. But
Dude, your channel is so serious. I was sitting at the Airbnb. We went to Ohio last week, and I was at the Airbnb drinking my coffee, and you were over at the table going rah, 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 just barking at the camera, and I was like, "Oh, you're so serious." But then when the camera's off, it's more like this. Anthony, why are people responding?
I think, like Jared said, it's a different dynamic, and this and hopefully what we're trying to relay to people, and we talked about it when we first kind of were wishing up the podcast, is we want to bring other like-minded people into the type of conversations we have with friends and freedom-loving patriots, and hopefully that's coming off to you guys. Like, this is stuff like the terms list and all of these things. It's things that we talk about in our group chats in private. Now, are we the most unfiltered? No. I mean, because if those group chats come out, we're on every list probably. But this is a less filtered way than our traditional channels to have conversations with like-minded people of like-minded values and get to talk about some different things like this and Killdozer and all those other things.
I would just like to acknowledge that we haven't called the ATF gay yet. After last episode where I called the ATF gay like 74 times and got us on another watch list, I just want to say we're doing pretty good.
Well,
Anthony,
you just did.
The ATF is. The
price is not on the list.
It's not on the list. It's on a different list.
It should be on the list.
I declare 2024 the year of the GayTF. But I will say this is very much a window into what it's like hanging out and how we talk. We talk on the group chats every day, all day. And actually, while we were waiting on this thing to go live and the thing to start recording, our group chat with some other guys was sitting there blinking, and guys are sitting there making fun of the ATF and making fun of all sorts of nonsense in the gun world. I hope, and I really think so, like I came away from our Knoxville trip so encouraged. I feel like creators and all of our friends and the guys and the gals on Instagram and TikTok and Twitter and all of the whole YouTube world, I think we're making a difference, and I think we're getting a message out that matters because people want to talk about this stuff.
Yeah, and most people, like, unless they're really, really plugged in, they don't know where to get that info. And it became obvious at the GOA Goals event that a lot of people like what we're doing. So it's very refreshing to see that, where people tell you, like, I've been watching you for years, and I get all my news from you, and to have politicians say I get my news from you. That was.
Did you have politicians say that?
Yeah.
Who said that?
Can
you say it?
Yeah, no, probably not, because it might get him in a.
But it was a he.
Yeah, it was a he.
There's a he out there. He's a politician. He gets his news from Jared.
Yeah.
Jared goes. The guy takes notes. Anthony, I feel like you do research, and conservatives go to work in the morning. Like conservatives get up, they don't go to the hair salon and get their hair dyed blue. They go to work. They're raising families, and they're not spending their days in the abortion clinics. And so because of that, people rely on, you guys are both a lot heavier news than I am. I'm the meme guy, but I feel like you're taking your time in educating folks because they don't have time because they're raising families and going to work.
Yeah, I mean, what all of us try to do. I mean, we all are news based. Even this podcast is kind of news based in many ways, but we all come about it in different ways. Like the value I offer people with the legal analysis is much different than how Jared approaches it versus way different than how you approach it, Johnny, with comedy and memes and all that stuff. But the theme is all freedom. It's all the information and news and things that are going on in our community that we want to relay to everybody so that they're informed. So that, I mean, I don't want to be put in any more lists. I'm going to stop talking there. So if things go really, really bad, we just want people to be informed. Yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time researching almost every day. That's all I'm doing, reading cases and all that stuff. But that's what I do anyways. So it's not that big of a deal. And I understand like the value I have to the community is that I can go through a lot of that information probably faster than the average person, because obviously I'm trained to do it and that's what I do. And I enjoy doing it. Not everybody wants to read, when the ATF comes out with the new rule, like a 355-page finalized rule, or if a court decides they want to drop a 188-page decision, walking through all kinds of historical context. Nobody wants to read that. So I try my best to distill that and still give the legal context, because I think that's the value I add to people. But yeah, I mean, I think it's important for everybody to be informed, but I also think it's important that people do stuff like this where they hang out with friends, have their own conversations, kind of up with, kind of a group think outside of what you're just being told online, on mainstream media, wherever, have those conversations with real people, and that's what our nation was really founded on. It was found on larger societal issues, and then real men and women having, educated conversations and sometimes heated conversations and, about our societal issues. And even back then, I know we love to romanticize people, especially our founders, but our founders did not all get along. If you know anything about our founders, some of them hated each other. So, I mean, I found out, I didn't know this, but I didn't know Benjamin Franklin pretty much disowned his own son.
Yep.
So because of the differences. So, I mean, that was just something I didn't know. And I was educating myself and reading some books and stuff. And I found that I was like, wow, that's crazy. Yeah, I think it's important. I personally don't watch other legal stuff in our realm. I prefer much more to watch Johnny stuff because it's outside of my realm and it's entertaining. I know Johnny's like, yeah, sure you do. I do actually watch Johnny stuff, and I had watched it for a long time because
it's not really my stuff. It's memes that I take from other people, and people are like, Johnny, your memes are great. And I'm like, I do like one meme a week. All the rest are other people. So you're watching other people's stuff that I just put together. I do want to congratulate Anthony. That was the longest, I would say the longest series of words he's ever spoken without using one that I didn't know. Like, that was really good. Like he used like regular English. We've been working on him on that, just trying to get him to speak in the parlance of the people. And Anthony, good job. You didn't no lawyer words. That was really, really good. I'm very proud of you. All right. We are moving into the end of the third quarter. We got the whole fourth quarter this year to go, but we're moving. We've come around the corner. It is the moving towards twilight of this year. Jared, what's the rest of your year look like? Tell these folks what you're doing and why it matters.
The biggest thing I'm trying to do is to get the people, the gun owners in this country, to realize that this election comes down to us. There's 10 million of us who aren't even registered. You hear every Republican that's up for re-election reach out to the gun owners, say, we need your vote. There's a reason they do that. We single-handedly can sway every single election in every single state, every county, every city. And when we understand how powerful we are, I think more people would get involved. And when we were at Goals, I did the speech about how many people are in each state that are unregistered as gun owners and hunters. And I have about 50 emails as a result of that saying, I heard you and I've registered to vote. So some people don't realize it, just how powerful they are, but that's my goal for the rest of the year.
I was in that speech that you gave, and I listened to about half of it. I only played on my phone about half of it, and the other half was really solid. So I tuned in, man. It was really good. I kid. You're not laughing, but I kid. He's very serious. He's very serious today.
I was waiting for the punchline.
Can we talk about prepping again? Just go back to that episode because that one was actually fun. No, the idea is that there's 10 million gun owners that are not registered, and that kind of stuff. Like I've heard people talk about that speech, and I've had several people hit me, and they're like, "Did you hear Jared's speech?" I'm like, yeah, I was sitting there, and it's the idea that like I didn't realize there was that many people that believe in the watch list word Second Amendment, but they don't go register to vote. So your rest of the year, at least up into the election, is focusing on that. Anthony, the rest of the year, what's it look like for you and why does it matter?
Yeah, I think it's similar, getting information out to people and getting them to care about where our country is heading, because it is a little scary, looking at what could happen after this election. And there's a lot of people on our side who aren't voting, and it's getting people to care about that, and trying to educate them about that. And beyond that, obviously, my personal life, my wife's pregnant, she's going to have a kid soon. So we're doing all that stuff, prepping for all that, which is the whirlwind and all that.
Was an MVE buzzword.
Oh, the kids on the list.
Yeah.
Kid on the list.
Kid previously on the list. Yeah. So just that stuff and just trying to enjoy life a little bit. I know we talk about it. We travel a lot on the back half of the year. I kind of canceled a lot of stuff because I'm actually want to stay home for a month for once. Like I don't want to travel as much. So all that stuff, and yeah, just enjoy time with buddies and train and do all that
Going
stuff.
a shot?
It's going to be hard because my wife is actually due right in that window. So maybe not. We'll go to SHOT Show. And
First kid, she'll be late. You can come.
They're always late on that first one. Second kid, they just squeeze them out. No big deal.
Thanks, Johnny. I think all of our 2 women viewers probably agree with you.
They probably will if they have kids. They know
If
they
have that's I didn't make that up. That's not like something I came up with. Yeah, I think it's a great question for the viewers. To your point, this election, how do y'all think it's going to go? I would like to hear some opinions on that. I sat with somebody today and they said, "What the frick is even going on? Give me the synopsis." And I said this. I said, "You have literally documented and verifiable the least popular vice president in U.S. history. And within 2 weeks, she was crowned with joy the great messiah to fix our country." In fact, yesterday, Politico magazine attacked J.D. Vance, and they were pounding him for suggesting that Kamala is tied to Joe Biden. They were offended that he suggested she is tied with him. And somebody just pulled up the White House, the whitehouse.gov, and Biden Harris administration. But she's going to fix everything with joy. But I'd like to hear what people have to say, because I don't think people really know what to think right now.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. Like, if you are a conservative and you love our rights, I speak with people regularly who communicate with the Trump campaign and a couple people who work on the campaign. And it's a lot closer than we think. We think that it's a home run slam dunk that Biden and Harris are going to get destroyed. And I'm telling you, if you think that and you don't want to get involved, you're making a grave mistake.
Are you guys surprised by like the conversations that are now going out there and is definitely hitting mainstream media and just everywhere about how close the race theoretically is? And some people are even projecting out. I mean, I get it, the projections of like what states are going to be won by what candidate, or it's all speculation, but a lot of people are saying it's very close. And I think coming off the assassination attempt, everybody thought, and we had these, for all the viewers and the listeners, we had conversations at the GOA convention with people who are very plugged in with what's going on. And even they are very concerned about the momentum that was lost after that incident and how rabid the Democratic Party has gotten behind Kamala and the big push that they're having. So are you guys really surprised by like how quick the playing field has been leveled? And I mean, do you guys really think that? For me, my analogy for this was that I told the person we were talking to when he was saying that he's concerned about momentum being shifted was, I have a family member and she is Democrat, and we've talked about this on the podcast, and she was like, in good conscience, she said, I could not vote for Biden. I can't do it. I'm going to vote for Trump. But once Biden stepped aside and Kamala came in, now all of a sudden she's like, oh yeah, I'll vote for Kamala. And I think that was a weird shift that a lot of people made that were in the middle. So do you guys see the same?
Yeah, the never Trumpers still exist. There are people who are Republican but will never vote for Trump because Twitter, because he says he got elected because he says what everybody was thinking. He had the balls to say it. He lost he lost his shine with a lot of people because he said what everybody was thinking and didn't hold back. So that's still an issue. I've talked to people who were in the Bobby Kennedy train, and now that he's supported Trump, they're going to go the opposite way. And I've also talked to many people on my channel who are Tulsi Gabbard people, and now that she's supported Trump, they're pulling the pin too. So it's a lot closer than people think.
I think for me, it's I don't know, to Anthony's question, is the shift been that big? I just think it feels that way because the DNC owns every microphone and every camera. And so it's just been Kamala's amazing 24/7. And this is coming off of massive momentum after the RNC. And the answer is, I don't know. I have no idea. I do know that the DNC will cheat. That's what they do. My hope is with our friend Louis, who has a theory that they can only cheat in so many places and in so many districts and in so many voting areas. He thinks it's only going to represent about a 3% swing. And so I do think, to your point, people need to get out and vote and talk about it. The Second Amendment keeps us alive. It really does. I have problems with Trump. Y'all know I have problems with Trump. But however, he's our best bet, and I freaking love his economy. I love his border. I love his America first attitude, and we've got to get out there.
And his neck's not as thick as Kamala's. She has the thickest neck I've ever seen.
Why do you have to attack her personally? She's a woman of joy.
Yeah, she's joyful. Yeah, very joyful.
Anthony, she's thick neck?
She's the brown Fran dresser.
She ain't that brown. She is not that brown. You seen her family? She ain't that brown. Suddenly she was talking about hot sauce. Like, she went to that black church. She turned into Hillary Clinton. I'm tired. I've been out here I've been out here all day working so hard
in these streets.
Yeah, she was talking in a black accent, which is absolutely laughable. And holy smokes. And they just, like, whatever she does, they just lap it up and act like she is the savior of our country.
Yeah. She's not.
She's not.
Yeah, not even close.
She's not.
Remember when they were trying to pass that disaster called Obamacare, the Affordable Care Act, and Nancy Pelosi said we must vote on the act so that we could read the act. They actually suggested that we need to vote Kamala into office to see what her platform's going to be.
That just tells you how totally out of it people are. They just will. It's just because they will. It's blue no matter who. And like my family back home, they're most of them are Democrats, and it won't matter who they roll out. They will just vote Democrat, and it's a big chunk of the country.
Big chunk of the country. I think it's completely unfortunate. We open with ideas of getting on a watch list. I want to challenge everybody out there. If you're not on a watch list, you're not doing your job. Anthony, what was your favorite buzzword from that list?
Probably Second Amendment was pretty funny, but Killdozer, the fact that we've brought that into the zeitgeist to now it's on a list. I think we're doing our part.
My favorite thing about Anthony is I asked him about buzzwords, and he took the two. I asked him for one. He took both of the best ones. Jared, what's your third favorite of the buzzwords?
Bug out.
I like, bug out, really?
Yeah, because most people who like prepare or even like have medical supplies in their car
in
a bag. Yeah, a giant can opener. That's a bug out bag. If you have something that will water, a pair of shoes, that's a bug out bag. And a lot of people have bug out bags. In fact, the government even has a website that says these are the things you should have in your bag in case of a hurricane or foul weather or snow. They tell you to have a bug out bag.
But if you do what they say on the CDC website, which is owned by the government, you are now a potential MVE.
Yeah. No bueno.
Yeah. My favorite is the Mujahideen. On behalf of both of these boot boys, I'm Johnny B, and we'll see you soon.